Howdy y'all, got the Bulldog on the channel. What we got today is a 2012 Chrysler Town and Country with a 3.6 liter engine and gigantic oil leak. Well, guess what? Anybody that already knows where I'm going with this knows, but for those who don't know, here, so now you know. Oil filter, adapter housing, oil cooler, all that kind of stuff is underneath the intake on these things. And they have a reputation of leaking like a sieve. It's a plastic housing with a oil cooler mounted to it, and it doesn't work out very well. For a long time, you don't notice the leak because there's a gigantic well down and underneath there that holds a lot of oil. And it shows up when it starts to get deep enough that it pools out of this side. So you make a hard right turn and it dumps a whole bunch of oil out this side. It looks bad. But in order to get to it, you have to pull the upper intake off. I've already removed the air cleaner tube, which is pretty straightforward. You pull this tube. It's got a breather tube that goes across here and down to the nipple right there. There it sits. Now pulling that thing off is a little bit of a trick. It has this pop in right here that goes right here. You pop it out. You kind of lever it up and wiggle it a little bit. There's no clamp right here. It's got, you unplug the air temp sensor. There's no clamp right here. You kind of wiggle it off and it's got two stobs sticking back there. Two stobs sticking back there that hook the air cleaner in place. Be careful. It's very easy to break that stuff because it has to move two different directions at once, and each direction makes it impossible for the other direction. I don't know. Sometimes you can reach around back there and pop them back ones up and then slide it off. Sometimes you can slide it off the top and then pop them up. These were just kind of setting in place. It wasn't even hooked. So putting it back might be a chore. Somebody else didn't get it done. But anyway, I've done a couple of these and I will show you later a part that will make that a thing of the past, because they do make an update that is all aluminum. I don't know what brand it is, but I will show you when I get everything apart. We've got the parts laying down there. But pulling this intake, it's got brackets up here that mount right here and right here somewhere. And then you got your electric right there, and basically this thing pops right off. It is pretty darn quick and easy pulling it off of there. So we'll get after it. Okay, what I do is I pull the radiator hose forward a little bit, and getting these brackets loose, it's pretty easy with just a regular box-in wrench, because you can get in there at this angle, break them loose, and threads are usually in really good shape, and you just spin them off, throw them up there. This bracket back here sets on studs also. Now you take these nuts off, same way, and there's a bolt down here. You take it out, push this bracket out of the way. That way, when you take out the bolts along your runners, you pick up the back of the intake, pull it back a little bit, and set it up, and pull it out. Now we have to pull the lower intake. This has me worried because it looks like these are all brand new. Got to pull the injectors, the harness, all this kind of stuff. You just unplug everything, kind of lay it over out of the way. These little clips here can be a little chore because everything, it's plastic and it's been on top of a hot engine for 10 years, so it's going to be brittle. I usually take a hook, and I have a special pocket screwdriver that I've bent into a J where I can get underneath them things and sometimes pop them up. Whatever works for you. It takes some experience to figure out what works to unplug these things without breaking them. The only way to get that experience is to break a few. So anyway, I'm gonna start working on this, get the harness undone, and then we'll pull the bolts for the lower intake and pick it up. Now, I got all these tabs front and back popped up. Now this lock here pushes up or pulls up, and then you squeeze the top here. Unfortunately, my big fat fingers have a hard time with this to squeeze these down to where it unlatches off of this. That's why sometimes I'll have something that reaches around and pulls in underneath these locks. But I found something that would work. These pincers here that are actually made to pull these body clips will reach around right here and squeeze on this. You have to be careful because you can break this plastic really easy. There we go. That's another little trick that you learn with experience. Half the time I'm never using tools for their design purpose because I see some other application where they'll work good. Okay, this is why I was worried about those new gaskets. All this stuff looks like it's new, but it is still leaking a copious amount down there. It does not appear to be coming out of those plugs. So that's why we're going to be changing it with the part that I'm going to show you shortly. Okay, I've got antifreeze draining because this hose here is coolant going down in there because this is a oil cooler. Now, it goes down through here into the block. I unplugged these connectors here. You can see in there's no oil inside that. I checked the other plug. Anyway, there's no oil inside that plug right there, so the only oil that can get there is from this. So I'll show you what we got. Okay, got it pulled off of there. We got quite a puddle down in there. We want to get rid of that and make sure it's all nice and dry before we put the new parts on. And what I've got is this little contraption here made out of an old R12 pig, hooked to a vacuum pump, and you put that thing on. You can see that thing's seen better days. It's not the local use for AC anymore. That's opened up. That's opened up. Alright. And we'll just suck all this oil up. See it go down. We'll get it all cleaned up. So, you know, we'll know what's been leaking and what hasn't when we go back together. This here is the new kit that we ordered. It comes with all the intake seals that you need. That's a new cap for it. And this is an all aluminum bracket so that you don't end up with exactly what we're dealing with right now, where somebody has just put it on and somehow or another it's leaking like sieve again. So I don't remember what the numbers are on this, I will find them and let you know. I believe it's a Dorman kit, but don't quote me on that. You can see how deep that stuff was. It's 2-3 inches deep in some places. So now we'll know, you know, if there's still a leak in there after we do all this, but I doubt there will be. I think most likely what we're looking at is either this plastic casing is warped or cracked, which I'm going to lean towards being cracked. But anyway, I've got to pull these sensors out, or check, see if they come with new sensors. Nope, I got to reuse the sensors. But anyway, let me get this thing pieced together and start back together with it. Okay, here's the part number for that kit. It's a Dorman, part number 926-959. And it actually cost less than the OE replacement plastic part. Okay, we got the part down in there. It's got a tag on the cap saying that you have to get filters for a 2015, and it has different part numbers on it. And I've got the wiring harnesses set back down, clipped in all the way around. Don't forget to put this back on. Now we're ready to drop that intake into place. Back in there, get your studs started there, set it down, and start all of your screws before tightening anything. You want to tighten these down first. Get everything started. I'm sure there's a torque spec on these, but yeah, it's about that much. Make sure everything gets torqued down evenly. Everything else, just reverse removal. And as you can see, or you can't see, but you can tell what I'm doing, those screws in the front tighten down 90% of the way without any real effort. Okay, we're all back together now. Make sure everything's secure. And then we got a cover up here to put on. We're gonna fill the antifreeze back up, take this thing out on a test drive. They came by today and 2 of their vehicles went down. And so now they need this one back ASAP, which it kind of worked out because we were going to be working on it this afternoon anyway. Just I decided to stay a little bit later and make sure it was done so that they'd come pick it up in the morning. That way everything will work out. Okay, we got her taken care of. Test drive went pretty good last night. Looks like it stayed dry up in that valley. All the fluids are good, so we got the mileage, got the ticket done. They're supposed to be calling any minute now and picking it up on their way to a doctor's appointment today. So success. So like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.